Time to strap in and get ready.
The leaders in NRL Supercoach are incoming. Bringing you the ultimate insight to help you win your leagues and climb up the rankings.
You're now listening to the Insight NRL Show with your hosts, Brain, Matrix, and Whisperer.
Yes, g'day guys. Welcome back to the Insight NRL Show. I am the Supercoach Brain and I'm on deck, as always, on Wednesday night to bring you the Insight Unlimited subscriber Q&A podcast. And it's obviously the chance for all of our subscribers of Insight Unlimited to get their questions in ahead of a very, very big round 19. There is a lot going on. There is a lot to consider in the lead up to the last major buy round. We've still got the mini buy round coming up as well, so we're not quite out of the woods just yet, but we've got some cracker questions in here this afternoon or this evening to get things going and get the conversation flowing leading into round 19. If you would like to become an Insight Unlimited member, you can still become a member. It only costs you $20. You still get access to not only the rest of the NRL and AFL seasons for Supercoach, you'll also get access to NBL and BBL Supercoach content as well. So all you need to do is hop into the free Discord. The link is in the description below. All the info will be in there, or just hop in my DMs and I'll lead you in the right direction. Now, as always, let's rip straight into things. We've got some really good questions coming up. And the first one is a little bit close to my heart, I must say. Hanko asking the tough questions tonight. We've got Val Holmes, hold or sell. He could sell to Maju or Mulatalo, seems solid, free up a little cash, or will price for something spicy. Now, this is probably one that I've been toying around and playing around with a little bit. It's a tough one because, you know, I even put something up on X today talking about the pros and cons of keeping Val Holmes. Now, the pros are that we know that Val has a massive ceiling. We know that if the Cows go on a run and they start to play some good footy, Val's going to score pretty well. We also know that they're going to play 5 out of their next 7 games at home. Now, for me, yes, he does have a 57 3-round average, but I think it comes up to about 70-odd on a 5-round average. So he's had a pretty quiet month. Obviously, through Origin, we naturally expect a lot of these guys to take a little bit of a dip in form at club footy. But for me, this is a 50-50 call for me. I don't know whether I can lead you in each direction. I can probably just give you the way that I'm thinking. If you've got Iro at your centre wing as well as Val Holmes, I would much rather trade out Iro if you can get the numbers this week for round 19. If you can get 13 players and not need Iro on the field, I would much rather just nuff out Iro to free up cash to Jake Tungo or someone like that, even a Lorenzo Mulatalo if you wanted to go that direction. There's a couple of really nice nuffs on the table this week to free up maximum cash so that we can start to make our moves and get these keepers back in. I just feel like Val Holmes is going to be one of those guys, and he maybe it's just off last year, but fuck, he hurt me when I traded him out. I traded him out at the start of Origin. I think he was going to play 1 in 4 games, and then I couldn't get him back in because he ended up being too expensive. He just went on this massive run of scores. I couldn't get back to him because he just spiked in price really quickly. And that's what Val Holmes can do. Whilst there is a big argument to fade him, there is a big argument. So, you know, the hold side of the argument is there because we know what Val Holmes can do. But the sell argument's strong. Now, they play the Bulldogs twice, and he's matched up directly against Stephen Crichton, who's probably, to be fair to say, the best defensive centre in the competition. And, you know, it's fair to say he's going to keep Val under lock and key in those games, I would like to think. So you can't really expect too much from him against the Bulldogs. It's actually a tough matchup this year. They also play the Broncos, and I know the Broncos have been down on form, but I have a feeling that they're still going to find something in the back end of this season. They're too good of a team naturally healthy when Adam Reynolds comes back as well. If they can get within striking distance of this top 8, they've got plenty to play for with Reynolds coming back into the team. Reece Walsh is healthy. Payne Haas, if he gets through Origin, fingers crossed. You know, they've got a strong team. Obviously, they've got 4 players missing this weekend, which goes to show you the strength of their team if they're losing these Origin troops. So Broncos definitely a tough matchup. Melbourne Storm, they're on top of the table or at the moment or pretty close to it. So that's going to be a tough matchup. I'd say Munster will be back by the time they play them as well. So they've got some tough matchups coming up, and they also have a round 25 bye too. So like there's not much to like about their draw, but I just feel like maybe Val Holmes is safe enough in a really volatile position at centre wing where you guys can be Ronnie Mulatalo can go and get you 22 or he can get you 122. Val Holmes is never going to score sub 40. He's going to be there or thereabouts for the most part. And he's only a bee's dick away from 120, 130. And we've seen that a couple of times this year already. It's just a matter of, does he have enough good matchups left? And can the Cowboys turn the season around and really kind of finish home strong? I'm still not sure. If you want to know my thoughts, become an Inside Unlimited member. I share them pretty openly in the Discord, or hop in the free Discord, and I'm sure we'll chat about it in there. But to answer your question, Hanko, is he a hold or is he a sell? I think if you've got balls on you and you need to free up a fair bit of cash for a number of upgrades, I don't mind selling Val Holmes this week. I'm probably going to find a way to hold him just for that extra number. But I found a way to create the cash that I need for those upgrades. So it just feels like a little bit of an overkill by freeing up more cash than I actually need with Val Holmes. So would I sell to Maju or Mulatalo? I'd probably sell to Maju purely because now with Nico Hines out of the team, I don't know how I feel about the Sharks. I feel like they're going to fade pretty quickly. And for me, Mulatalo likely suffers there. I don't have confidence in Braden Trindle. So with Ponga back in this Knights lineup, we saw what they did last year. I think we can just hope or bank on maybe someone like Maju refinding some of that form. At 580K is an absolute steal for if he starts to find some of that form from last year. So if you're going to sell Val Holmes to Maju to free up some cash is actually quite nice. Don't know whether I'd go down the Will Price route. There is the doubt there that Cog is floating around there, and he could be nearly ready. He's not far away now. So there might be a chance. He has been good. But there might be a chance that Cogger maybe finds his spot back in this team and Will Price finds himself on the outer, which you wouldn't want. Jacko, for the next one, do I trade Hughes and Iro to Tungo and Geimer if it allows me to get Fafita and Aitken next round? I mean, that's a pretty easy answer for me. That's a yes. With Hughes, though, are we talking about Sam Hughes, or are we talking about Jerome Hughes? Because that's a very different question then. I'm assuming because you're bringing in Tungo and Geimer, you're freeing up a fair bit of cash there, and we're talking Geimer at 2RF. The jewels aren't there, I would assume, unless you have Plath at like 5'8", and a fair bit of jewels floating around. So I'm assuming you're talking Sam Hughes and Kale Iro are we talking Jake Tungo or Isaac? And then I'm assuming we're talking, well, obviously Charlie Geimer. I think if you can get Fafita and Aitken next round, yeah, great. If you can find a way to get Fafita this round, even better. I feel like maybe this is the round that he's going to explode. I just have a feeling that after the snubbing again from Billy Slater, there's obviously maybe I don't know what it is. He's not coming out and talking about it too much. They've come up with his preseason wasn't that great, which is a load of shit. And then the next thing they've said about Fafita was the fact that his fitness isn't where they need it to be. And I'm like, well, I'm lucky they've got interchanges in rugby league because, no one's expecting him to play 80 at that level. And he's been used as a bench forward for impact in past Origin series. So it makes absolutely no sense what Billy Slater's saying. But I feel like there's going to be a bit of a chip on his shoulder for Fafita this week to do well. So if you can get him this week, I'd definitely grab him. But if you can't, I think setting up for next round, those guys are keepers, Fafita and Aitken. Aitken's a perfect centre wing for. So, good options there. And Tungo and Geimer, if you don't have Nuffs in your team yet, perfect options because they're both playable this week. Brent, who are your must-have players this week? And are there any that are worth trading in if you don't own them? Currently ranked 95th and want to hold trades this week, but doesn't have Appy, doesn't have Keon, Turbo, Azarko, Brown, or Jaden Campbell. Now, if I quickly go and filter, bear with me here. If I filter available round 19, and then obviously we're just going to filter all positions. Let's have a look at the players that are available now. We're talking total points now. I'll shift it to averages just so that it's a little bit easier to track. Latrell Mitchell, not playing this week. Fafita is the best available player this week, 82.9 average. That's an obvious one, very obvious to me. I think if you don't have Fafita in your team, I'd be getting him. Nico Hines, obviously the third best player, not playing. Zach Lomax, he's also not playing. He's an Origin. Jaden Campbell is the fifth best option this week in round 19 with a 75 average. Then you've got Tom Trebojevic with a 74.8. So basically we're looking at Fafita, Campbell as the second best option this week, which is wild. Turbo, Ponga's not playing. Campbell, and then we're looking at K.O. Keeney potentially that, is the fifth best option this week to buy. So you can see here that we're starting to There really aren't many amazing options when we're looking at season average this year. Not many guys that you would consider keepers for the run home, Brett. So to answer your question here, Appy, would I consider Appy a trade-in? I mean, I don't think so. Not this week. Keon Kalyn, there was word there that he would rather play on an edge. It came out in a presser last week that he would, after the game, he said, I'd prefer to play on the edge rather than the middle. So let's see how long it takes before he ends up back on an edge and we see Cam Murray back in the 13 jersey, which is every chance of happening. Would I buy Keon? No, probably not. If you've got Olakau'atu and you've got Fafita and you've got even Nikora, maybe you've got Gus Crichton sitting there or you plan to get Gus Crichton, how many 2RFs do you actually want? And I think that's the tricky scenario that we're in at the moment is you can't, there's no point going and getting 5 2RF guns. There really isn't. I'm going to keep Kai Pearce-Paul as my 2RF5, I think, at this point, unless someone jumps out at me. And I'm going to run with Katoa, Gus, Fafita, and Olakau'atu. That's going to be the 4 guys that I lock and load and I play every single week. I'm not even looking at playing them on matchup. They'll just be in my 17 every week as a lock. And I'd rather spend the cash in a center wing where I feel like there's a little bit more upside at center wing. I also I want to play both fullbacks because I plan on having Teddy and maybe a Ponga or a Walsh for the run home. I'm definitely going to be playing 2 halfbacks because I plan on getting Cleary in and I've got Jerome Hughes. So you'll see here that I don't plan on ever playing these guys on matchups. So I want to have that. I don't want to have too much cash tied up at 2RF, which is why I'm not going for Keon. He's a little bit more expensive, 100K more expensive than Hamoli. So that's my choice. Would I get Turbo this week? No, I definitely didn't see enough from Turbo last week and he did look a little slow. In saying that, it was at centre. And you don't get as much space at centre for as much separation from your defender. So, I mean, it's a different position for him as well. So we've got to cut him a bit of slack. Maybe he gets a bit more space at the back and looks good again. But yeah, I'd want to see more. I need to see something from Turbo before I pull the pin on him. Jermaine Asako is probably a guy that I would look at this week. I love the matchup against Souths this week. That right edge defense for Souths is horrendous and concedes the most tries in the competition on the right wing. So, if Asako lines up on the right wing and he's running at Alex Johnston, you can probably lock him in for a try. And I actually like him as a VC this week. So if you don't have Asako in your team, depending on what your centre wing looks like, I don't mind it, to be honest. I think he might be a buy. Dylan Brown, am I buying? No, absolutely not. I'm probably even considering selling if I had enough trades, but I don't. And Jaden Campbell, I'm just a little bit worried about Brimson. We talked about it on Tuesday, about Brimson being in the 18 jersey. For me, there's just a little bit of risk there that he drops back into the 14 as a utility. I don't want a guy at 650 or 620K, as much as he might be 800K in 2 weeks. That's all well and good, but it also costs you 2 trades to make 160, 150K. So if you've got 15 or more trades this week left for the run home, then sure, you can probably pull the trigger on a bit of a link trade to a Cleary or someone like that. But yeah, if you're sitting around 12 trades or less, even 11, 10 trades, you can't really afford to book 2 trades in to get a player in and to get a player out. So Jaden Campbell could be that, to be honest. So, the way I'm looking at it, probably Asako would be the only buy there. The only issue with Asako is that you're getting him for this week, really. The run home for the Dolphins is horrendous. So you're not going to want to have too many Finns in your team, I don't think, for the run home. But if I was going to have one, it'd probably be Asako. Hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, it's slim pickings, mate. Hamoli's 6th best option, Ruben Garrick, Jermaine Asako, and then we're going down to Trey Fuller, Appy Coruscant, Damien Cook, Keon, Dylan Brown, Will Price, Cam McInnes. Yeah, a lot of these guys I'd probably pass on now just at the price. So, hopefully that answers your question, mate. It's a bit of a shit week. Rambo 1989, 15 trades left, looking at doing Nico to JC, to Jaden Campbell for the cash, and then going to Cleary. I have Wishart, Brown, Galvin, and Hines at the moment ranked at 400. It's good. We've got some cracking ranks floating around here. 95th for Brent and 400th for Rambo. 15 trades is good. That's a really good spot to be in because we've got, 8 rounds left? 19, 20, 9 rounds left we've got. So, I mean, you've got about 1.6 trades left per week there, which is a pretty good spot to be in and probably a better spot than most, to be honest. So you can be a little bit more flexible with trades. Nico to Campbell, and then doing Campbell to Cleary. That was what I talked about if you had like 10, 11, 12 trades or less. But with 15, I feel like you can probably afford that if you really want to save the cash and make it a bit of a straight swap for Campbell. But for Cleary. But again, like I mentioned on JC, just be wary and keep a look at the 1 hour cuts and the team list, because Brimson in the 18 can very easily come in at fullback. He can come in at halfback. He can come in at 5'8". Foreign obviously will play 5. Well, he'll play halfback, and Brimson could potentially play 5'8". And then we see JC in the 14. Keanu Keeney would be very stiff to lose that number 1 jumper. So yeah, there's a bit of risk there with Jaden Campbell. I don't love it. He's probably not a guy I'm going to be looking at this week, that's for sure. But if you've got Wishart and Brown, Wishart is going to be a guy you're going to need to move on when Munster comes back. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Good cash though for Wishart, so you'll be able to move to nearly anyone. Dylan Brown's probably a hold, to be fair, and Galvin obviously is a hold as well. So if you've got Hines, it'll be Hines to whoever you want to pick. And if you don't need the numbers this week, Rambo, I'd probably urge you to just wait a week and hold Nicho Hines, because if you can hold Nicho Hines this week and you can get 13 players on the field without him, then you can move Hines to a number of much better options next week, in my opinion. Cleary might be back next week. You might even want to have a look for a week, and that's fine with 170 BE. Then you've also got Jerome. You've got Jerome Hughes you can also get in that you don't have, which I think is probably the next best option behind Hines based on form this year. You've also got guys like Sam Walker potentially with Roosters draw. It's looking pretty nice. They've got a round 23 bye though, so that's not ideal. And then, DCE could be a very left field pick with Manly's draw coming home. Like they've got plenty to play for this year as well. And he's going to be as solid as ever, and he's going to be pretty reliable for you as well with the big ceiling. So they're the options I'd prefer over Jaden Campbell personally. Now, next one is Jono D. 13 trades and a boost left, mate. There's something psychopathic about having a boost left at this point of the year. Mine were gone about a month and a half ago. Thinking Hines to Jaden Campbell again and then up to Cleary. So we're doing that link trade again. I'd say Jono 13 trades is right on the line of where I would say I would feel comfortable about doing a link trade like Hines to JC to Cleary. Again, we're getting the best halfback or one of the best halfbacks in the game, so I understand it could be a worthy risk and could be worth spending a trade on. But yeah, I'd urge you maybe even, do we need the JC money? That's the question. Do we need that Jaden Campbell money at this time of the year? I understand money's important and break-evens are still important to look at, but yeah, honestly, I'd rather just go Hines to Cleary whenever the time comes and have that 100, 150, 112K, whatever it is, to get up to him. Or just let Cleary drop in cash. Hopefully he does in his first game back. And then it could even be a straight swap Hines to Cleary whenever the time comes, depending on who your second halfback is as well. Could also do Nikora to Olakau'atu. Also have Plath at 5'8". I could move up and down. So the little bit of jewels here to move around. Now, the end of the question was, do I trade Kai Pearce-Paul or Nikora to Olakau'atu? Kai Pearce-Paul has done nothing at the moment to make me feel good about him. The only reason I'm keeping him is for the number. So I've got 13 players this week and I don't have to trade Val. That's kind of where I'm thinking at the moment with this. Would I rather trade Kai Pearce-Paul or Nikora? Probably I'd rather trade Kai Pearce-Paul personally, especially because I feel like, yes, Nico's out and it might hurt Nikora's output a little bit, but Nikora on a downer is still better than KPP's best this year, to be fair. KPP just hasn't shown us that he can hit a line. There's barely any attack going on for Kai Pearce-Paul, and as talented as the bloke is, he's just not getting space. So will Ponga change that? Maybe. But Ponga also played the first 7 games of the season, and Kai Pearce-Paul still couldn't jag an attacking stat back then either. So Nikora, I feel like probably a more mature player will get himself into the game. Will try and find ways to get himself into the game so that I would probably be confident in saying that Nikora outscores Kai Pearce-Paul for the run home. That's probably the way that I'll look at it. But I don't feel great about Nikora either. I just feel worse about Kai Pearce-Paul. But both are Olakau'atu. Do whatever you can to get him in. I don't care who it is. I think Kai Pearce-Paul to Olakau'atu this week would be the play for me personally. Now, Jono D has a second part to his question. I still have Manu. Is he a hold now, seeing as it's only 3 weeks away and a good run home? I don't need the money. Absolutely. If you don't need the money, Manu is the perfect hold. He's going to come back with a very nice draw in round 21 through to 27. They do have the round 23 bye, so he's only going to miss one game in the run home. The Roosters, they're sitting in a pretty good spot on the table, but anything can happen. They might get a round 27 rest, but I mean, with Manu coming back from injury, with this being his last year at the Roosters before he goes off to Japanese rugby, I feel like that he's not going to want to rest, and I feel like there's every chance that we're going to get some pretty good Manu on the run home at sub 30% ownership in the top percent of teams. So, yeah, I like it. If I didn't trade Manu a week or 2 weeks ago, whenever he injured himself, I would absolutely be moving off Manu. I'd be holding Manu now, sorry. So, absolutely a hold from now. The next question from Troz. Deal bags to Burton after round 19. Pocket 100K and avoid the Eels horror draw from rounds 21 to 24. So if we look at the draw, we'll bring it up on the screen. Sorry, I've got to move the banner off the screen. We've got the Eels. They've got Melbourne into the Warriors, into Penrith, into the Roosters. And I don't know whether and the Warriors game is away. So I actually don't know whether there are 4 worse games to play. Into the Broncos as well in round 25. If they find some form, they're going to be a powerhouse defensively as well with all of their guys back. That could be probably the worst 5-game run I have seen. And for those of us, obviously, that are leaning on guys like Dylan Brown, I mean, I get it. I understand why we're doing it. But I tell you what, you're going to want to minimize the amount of Eels that you have in your team at the moment, because that is not a nice run of games. And that's probably why I wouldn't be looking at Mitchell Moses for the run home as a replacement instead of Cleary. Gutho's usually always been an option through Origin, but that's probably why I haven't looked at him that much this year, aside from the fact he's been injured too. So, yeah. Look, deal bags to Burton. If you have the trades, Troz, absolutely pull the trigger, because I think Burton's bottomed out. Bulldogs have been playing some awesome footy. He's shown that he can definitely score with the best of them as well. So I'm a fan of the trade. I don't mind it. You've just got to have 12 plus trades for me to make that move, I think, because we're going to want to have 6 to 7 trades for the run home as a minimum. I'm looking at 6 trades from round 22 to 27, and I don't like it, but I'll have a complete team. So I'll be 6 trades for injuries, basically. But yeah, if you've got the trades, pull the trigger, Troz. Cracker is asking, he's got Fafita, Gus, Nikora, Olakawatu, Plath, and Kai Pearce-Paul at 2RF. And he's got Dom Young, Garrick, Val, Talangi, Iro, Marju, and DWZ at centre wing. Fucking hell. That is a lot of money in these 2 positions. Who would you nuff to upgrade Sharp? And would you nuff 1, or could you get away with nuffing 2? Good question. The way I'd probably do it is I would nuff 2. Honestly, I think depending on how many trades you have, it'd be moving forward. I reckon it'd be great if we could get how many trades in your questions moving forward, guys. But I would probably nuff Kai Pearce-Paul. I've already talked to you about why I would nuff Kai Pearce-Paul, and then I would probably look at nuffing Iro. And I mean Talangi. Maybe even Talangi, I'd rather nuff him, considering the Sharks' draws okay and Iro bases at 50. Talangi could struggle without scoring tries, I reckon, especially when we talked about the Eels' draw coming home from round 21 to 25. That sucks. So, yeah, if you nuffed Talangi and you nuffed Kai Pearce-Paul, you would have like $1 million there to go and spend. And those 2 positions are perfect positions as well to go and get in Charlie Geimer at bottom dollar, and also go and get in Jake Tungo at bottom dollar. So if you can go and do both of those moves, you would have $1 million then to go and upgrade Sharp. You can upgrade whoever you want to, basically. I'm sure that we probably want to upgrade another couple of players by the end of the year. So that's probably how I'd play it. And then you've got all the cash in the bank that you need then to make your upgrades and get sorted. Now, also, we've got Mr. Callio. His question is Cardi to Olakawatu this week, or Kai Pearce-Paul to Olakawatu. Can do either. Money isn't an issue. I mean, we talked about the Eels draw. It's pretty shit. So Bryce Cartwright to Olakawatu this week, especially because he's been named off the bench, and I don't really understand why this is the case. It's kind of strange. But why is Bryce Cartwright named on the bench? And then you've got Matt Doorey, who is named to start this week. That fucking baffles me. Trent Barrett just trying to not get back into the head coaching role at any other club by doing shit like this. There could be a late change, and I think there may be, especially with Sean Lane's on the bench as well, and we see Charlie Guyman named in the 13. Maybe he's looking for a bit of stability off the bench. I really don't understand it. I don't know. But I assume that Matt Doorey might play the first 20 if he does start, and then we see Cartwright play the last 60. But regardless, either of these guys to Olakawatu is such a big fucking upgrade. So pull the trigger on whoever. I'd probably pull the trigger on Cardi first. Kai Pearce-Paul's still starting. Cardi, we don't know what the Eels are doing. They're in a fucking shambles at the moment. So, yeah, probably bail on Cardi or Olakau'atu. It probably frees up a little bit more cash for you as well doing that. And then the last question we got from Edge, thoughts on Latrell to Jai Gray for 4 weeks and then plan to pick up Turbo or Ponga in round 23. Gray's 4 scores this season, and this is a really good point from Edge. Gray's 4 scores this season have been either HIA affected, team conceded 50 and got smashed, injured, and then very heavy rain. So that is a very good point. The 4 games that Jai Gray played were in pretty fucking ordinary conditions or he got knocked out. So for me, like Jai Gray's a good buy. I don't mind it. Especially if he does end up playing the rest of the season. You've got to have enough trades. You've got 15 trades left, Edge, then that's fine. I'd do that. I don't mind it at all. It frees up a ton of cash too. And it gives you the ability there to make a little bit back and then hopefully get back to Latrell for the run home. Because Latrell for the run home from 24 to 27, I would assume if he is back, and the word is on Latrell Mitchell's injury, that he's a chance of coming back in around 23. That could be great, depending on how scans go in a fortnight, on how the injury is tracking. And it all comes down to whether the Souths are winning games too, or whether they just shut him down because they can't make the finals. That's also a consideration. So what I would probably look at is, go Latrell to Gray. He's at a good price at 270K. He's got a low break even. So you can't really go wrong with him. He's in a really good position on a team that can score points, regardless of whether they can concede them or not. They definitely can score points. So, and Matrix is a big fan of Jai Gray. I don't mind him either. I'm probably not as big of a fan as Matrix is, but I still think Jai Gray is not a bad option. And, if your plan is then to pick up Turbo or Ponga, I'd even argue why not get Latrell back? The South's draw from 24 to 27 could be very nice and probably exactly what we want for the run home. So don't hate it. Hopefully that helps, mate. You're in a pretty good spot though with 15 trades left. I'm getting a bit jealous with all of these people saying I've got 15 and 17 trades left. After this week, I'll have 9. So starting to run a bit skint, but I feel pretty good about my team at the moment. But guys, that'll do. That's the end of the subscriber Inside Unlimited Q&A. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this has helped you with your team, or maybe you're in a similar situation to these guys. And if you do want more access to us, more in-depth Q&A access, we do answer questions basically all week in the Discord for all of our members at any time. You got access to obviously myself, Supercoach Matrix, and the Supercoach Whisperer in there. Hop in, become an Inside Unlimited member, or just jump in the free Discord. You don't even have to pay. Free access, and come and chat with the community. Bunch of awesome blokes in there that love chatting Supercoach and fantasy sport as well. But that'll do me. Guys, we will be back on Sunday to wrap up the week. We've only got 5 games this week. Hopefully plenty of green arrows to come. We'll see you on Sunday. Good luck this weekend.